After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No.
No. It's like, I made a choice.
Rise, beautiful souls. Listen, guys, I took a little break only to come back and see several messages about the Will Smith apology video. A lot of you guys loved, absolutely loved. I've gotten probably 50, 60, maybe 70,000 subscribers just during the time that I went over and covered the Will Smith and Jada incident. And so a lot of you guys are asking me to break down the apology video. A lot of you guys are saying it's narcissistic. Some of you guys are saying that it's not, that it's sincere, that it's genuine. And so I want to go over these things, guys. Be prepared, man. After I've watched this, I can tell you now, Will and Jada have a lot in common. The last review, I was talking to you guys about cycles and how you are manifesting these certain experiences by having a certain way of thinking or a certain way of behaving, right? Well, that's exactly what this is. And if Will Smith does not change the way he thinks, he will keep on creating this cycle, okay, that he's been going through behind him and Jada, okay? Of course, this is the apology video. I'm going to hit play, but I want to let you know first off, notice here, he's already put a text up on the screen that says, "It's been a minute." Over the last few months, I've done a lot of thinking and personal work. You asked a lot of fair questions, and I wanted to take some time to answer. Now, already, family, now, I know he has a team behind him, okay? And I think that's going to destroy what could be a sincere apology. There's a time in this video where you can tell it was stopped. But let's just start from here, okay? Over the past few months, I've been doing a lot of thinking and personal work. This is already going down the wrong road. It's been 3 months since he slapped the taste out of Chris Rock's mouth, right? What about what Chris has been going through? What about what all of us have been going through as fans? I can tell you, is watching it, it made me sick to my stomach. Actually, I mean, I covered it a lot, so it's definitely in my frame of awareness. But I can tell you now, I didn't feel good at all. I lost sleep over it. And I normally don't care that much about stars and Hollywood and whatnot. But for some reason, that took a lot of energy out of me. Maybe it was because people, justified it by saying, defend your wife's honor and just all the things that people were saying. Chris Rock deserved that and Will reacted responsibly and the right way. And when I saw that, it just disturbed me as to what our world actually is. You understand? So maybe it's not just a slap, but I can tell you it took a lot out of me. Anyway, I'm sure it took a lot out of many of you as well. Okay, it was obviously everywhere. Probably one of the biggest covered stories that I've really ever seen in recent years. You understand? Over something like a slap. It's not a murder or anything. But anyway, he responds to this by saying, I've been doing a lot of thinking and personal work. It's been a few months. I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering what's going on. I'm sure it took a lot out of you guys. I want to come before you guys today and speak on some of these things, make some of this right. You see what I'm saying? Bring some clarity to some of these things. So he's already approaching it with what's going on with him. And typically, guys, a narcissist is not an evil person. They are a person who thinks about themselves first. Okay, so it doesn't mean that they're evil. It means that their worldview is based on themselves. So they don't treat others bad, not because they hurt other people's feelings, but because they don't want to be a bad person or have a bad reputation or do people wrong. Often more times than not, a narcissist who strives on being a good person rather than the deeds that he does for people because they personally needs it, or a person who strives on doing good deeds to get recognition versus doing the deed because the person needs the help. That's a narcissistic trait. Do you understand, family? And narcissism is on the rise. We live in a world that prides itself on success, on achievement. Okay, and when you have that type of world, you're going to shelf qualities like empathy, compassion. You understand? Just imagine you see a homeless guy on the street. Okay, some people may look at this person and say, "Oh, he needs help. Let me see what I have on him to give to him." Okay. Pretty much normal person able to be empathic to what a person is going through. Well, a narcissist might look at that situation and say, I don't feel sorry for him. He hadn't been doing the work to get there, right? So all of us are having to work. All of us are putting in the work. Why don't you? Stop being lazy. Notice how it went to change your actions. I'm not feeling sorry for you. So empathy has gotten shelved, Forget worrying about if other people lose, just worry about if you win. So anybody who's jealous, we're going to call that jealous. Anybody who's feeling uncomfortable with your success We're just going to call them a hater. We're not going to be empathic for what they may be going through. Maybe they are trying, and maybe, just like natural people, seeing you move so far ahead and making it look effortlessly causes them to honestly feel a little bit of jealousy. And jealousy is a human emotion. We're all welcome to feel it, but we shouldn't be punished for feeling jealousy, right? And so a non-empathic person or a narcissist would punish you for feeling jealous. You are a hater. You have a problem. Of course, if you come out and you are negative with your hate and your jealousy, you are definitely a hater. But a person may call you that simply because you don't, simply because you're not where they are. You understand, family? All right. First of all, you can see this is set up. Okay, he's walking into this interview. He's not just turning a camera on and just being there, present and ready to go. He has the cameras on before he even walks in, and you can see there's different cameras set up. So he definitely has a staff that helped him with this video. This is not a individual type video. But let's look at this. Okay, he's an actor. I want to show you how they're setting the scene. Okay, number one, notice the green hues in the background. Green symbolizes love. I talked to you guys about how the heart chakra is green because it symbolizes love. It symbolizes new growth, new beginnings, because plants are green, right? Now, this is in the background probably a couple of times from different angles, so you keep seeing this green hue, which tells me that this was put there on purpose. And just so you guys know, in Hollywood, nothing is on accident. The time on the clock is on purpose. The cup on the table is on purpose. Everything in that room, the pictures on the wall, in fact, the picture on the wall, okay? It says that the world is sick, let love be the cure, I think. Let's see here. Let's see what this picture says. So these things are there to dig into your subconscious, okay, while you listen. So subtly, or while you're not focusing on those things in the background or the colors, it's there to kind of invade your spirit, so to speak. You understand? But let's continue.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech?
Number one, family, notice how robotic he is when he is reading, okay? When you hear people talk, if you're not going to look at body language, you want to look at body language, but you want to listen to their tone. And the way to do that is you want to establish a baseline, okay, in their voice, something to establish what's their normal range, so you can tell when it fluctuates, and maybe you can infer why their voice may have fluctuated. But you need that baseline. It looks like he's not going to give you one. He's reading that like a robot. You understand? You know Will is very intelligent. You know he's an actor. He's read a lot of scripts, okay? But he's not reading this like a human. He's reading this like Sonny from I Am Robot. You understand? Like, this is how he's reading this, okay? But let's continue.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy.
Now, he chose the questions he wanted to answer. You understand this, right? Now, he did not answer that question. So that's the second red flag that we're going to say is indicative of a narcissistic trait. The first one was the text on the board, okay? The first one was the text on the board, okay, of him talking about what he has been doing these 3 months instead of what we have been going through these 3 months. Do you understand? So that's one red flag. And the second red flag is here. It's all fuzzy. I was fogged out by that point. This is not answering the question. What it is saying that you don't have recollection of the scene at all kind of alleviates you from being responsible for it. In fact, if you are in questioning, being interrogated, if you say something like this, it's all fuzzy, it's not coming clear to me, I'm all fogged out, they are to discontinue that line of questioning, because anything you say in that moment cannot be held up in court because you've already said it was foggy. And so me attempting to still squeeze answers out of you is sort of like I'm badgering the witness. You understand? I'm trying to force you to give me details over something that is frankly foggy to you. You understand? So What you would do in this situation is simply bail out. Ask no more questions on that topic, because anything that this person says, they can even confess guilt. The sheer fact that they said they were foggy, though, gives them this leverage to be able to finagle that later. You understand? I already told you I didn't really remember what was going on. I told you it was foggy already, and you still asking me about it. Of course, I'm gonna say something that probably don't make much sense. You see what I'm saying? But he could have just said the truth, right? What I would think is the truth. Why didn't you apologize to Chris during your acceptance speech? Instead of saying it was foggy, which gives no reason at all why you did not apologize, it would seem that you would say, I still thought I was right at the time. I was still flying high on emotion. I didn't think I was wrong. It actually took me a while to realize that I was wrong. Often in times when you're really, really angry, you don't feel wrong. You feel anger or the emotion that caused you to behave in a certain way. You understand? So why would you feel wrong immediately? Maybe he doesn't feel wrong. You understand? That would make perfect sense on why he did not apologize. I mean, it's 3 months later too. You understand? It would make perfect sense because he went through this whole show. He actually refused to leave. Okay. He got his award, did not mention anything about Chris in that acceptance speech. In fact, said love will make you do crazy things, and excused himself from what he did based on love. Okay. And then he went to like the after party and lived it up. So maybe he didn't feel bad about it yet. You understand? He may have felt empowered, like I just stood up and defended my wife or my mother, right? This woman, this person who needs defending, which I was never able to do. He could have felt empowered by that moment. And now the moment that he stands up and he defends someone that he loves aggressively, he's now being treated punitively. Bad behavior. You were wrong, right? And he doesn't know how to handle that. You understand?
Here's an example. Consider a child in their infancy stage. Say they throw something across the room. Now, if you just go pick that object up, they'll move on as if nothing ever happened. But if you confront that issue, confront that behavior, throwing it across the room, like say you go, ooh, look what you did, or no, or say their name, don't you do that. They will begin to just cry, just burst out in tears, right? And you'll find yourself having to pick them up and go, oh, it's okay, baby, come here, and pat them on the back and console them. Now, two things. On one hand, they're trying to rectify why you're upset with them. They don't know it's wrong yet. But you'll see this behavior continue. Even when they learn it's wrong behavior, when you confront it, you will notice they will begin to weep. They will begin to cry. This is because it's difficult for people to confront their wrongdoings. As a child, they express this by crying. Well, so do adults. When they get to this age and they haven't dealt with these things emotionally, no emotional intelligence, they still respond just like children. And that's why I call it childish behavior, because it starts in children. We see this early on. Here they are now, adults. They still can't confront their wrongdoings. And so they still act with the same type of energy. They will begin to play the victim, somewhat crying by telling you how bad they feel. And you'll almost have to just act like it don't bother you no more, just so they feel better about themselves, or tell them it's not so bad, or convince them not to be so hard on themselves. Talk them off a ledge when they just hurt you. And you'll find yourself very confused. You understand? It doesn't mean that this person is intentionally manipulating you. They could just be a vulnerable narcissist, like playing the victim at every chance they get. Sad, y'all. Also, this is learned behavior. Say when you're growing up, if you got punished, severely, whippings, grounded, etc., if you knew that punishment was coming, whether or not you knew you were guilty for what you did, you were already playing the victim somewhat, even if it was just to try to avoid the punishment. And what you would learn is sometimes it would work. Sometimes it would, take away from the severity of the punishment because you're acting that way. And so basically, it's like you're learning to navigate, but you're really learning to manipulate. And this is even if you're being abused, you will begin to do or say whatever you can to get out of that abuse. In that sense, you probably should be doing whatever you can to get out of that abuse, but those behaviors will continue. When displayed in adults, it looks like manipulation. You understand? Because what's the worst that can happen to you by admitting you're wrong? You're no longer getting whoopings. You understand? So now you're talking to your peers. You should have reached adulthood to where it's not to where you're thinking that you're going to be, whipped or grounded for your shortcomings, but you will confront them and be accountable to them and grow. What are you lying for? What are you manipulating for? Why all of the deception? So it's very immature.
I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out.
Understandably.
So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you.
Third red flag. He reached out to Chris. What he got back was that Chris does not want to talk, and Chris will reach out whenever he is ready. He should have said, I respect that, Chris, and went on to apologize to everyone else. I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. Just know that. That's what he should have done. This makes it look like a PR move, okay? Which is evidence to probably why they have this whole setup, okay? If you're going to apologize to Chris anyway, it looks like a PR move. You understand? Because Chris has told you that he doesn't want to talk. And a lot of times what will happen is a person is like, well, I don't want to sit in the doghouse until you're ready to talk, so I'm just going to say my apologies. And what they'll do is they'll run off and say, well, I apologize and they didn't forgive me. As if they can put a time limit on when someone forgives them for violating them. You understand? This person does not like to sit in
the unknown. They don't want to sit in that anxiety of not knowing what the verdict is or not knowing the outcome of what their decisions caused, right? I'm gonna call it timeout. Like when you send your child to timeout, it's so they can think about what they did. But that narcissistic type trait is when you send that child to timeout and they get mad at you for sending them to timeout, or get mad at the person who they violated, which caused them to be sent to timeout. This type of person that'll hit you and they get mad at you for calling the police because they had to go to jail and lost their job. Now they have a criminal record. They mad at you. You see what I'm saying? It's like this person can't rectify, their choice to the result of their choice. You understand? So while they're in timeout, they're mad at the person who they hurt because that person told on them and got them put in timeout. You understand? So it's really hard for that person. So let's just say you go to a narcissist and you tell them, I need some time to think, right? Maybe they've hurt you. If it's a fiance, girlfriend, boyfriend, they'll probably break up with you and leave because they don't want to be sitting there like that, right? If it's a friend or something like that, then they'll go cold and go distant. They cannot stand that you're upset with them. They won't even want to talk to you. You understand? I'm telling you, if you guys have ever told somebody, hey, look, I just need to think about it. I need some time to myself. I just need to figure out, sort this out. Any of those type of words to a narcissist, you'll notice that they will do something to get leverage. They'll do something. Say you're going to walk out of the room, they'll say, fine, leave then. Say, you're done with the relationship. They're going to say, fine, I'm done. I've been done. They're always going to some type of way try and get leverage back. You understand? They cannot sit in those moments of like waiting to know what the verdict's going to be. You understand? So Chris Rock says, I'll reach out to you when I want to talk. Will says, I'll take it upon myself to apologize to you on the camera, whether or not it's to you or not. You heard it. Get over it when it's your time. But I'm not sitting here and lingering in this. Everybody keep telling us to make up. I want us to make up so I can get over this punitive treatment I'm getting. But you saying you don't want to talk about it, talking about you ain't ready. Bump you not being ready. I don't want to keep going through this treatment. He's the child in the corner mad at the kid that he hit for telling on him. You understand? But in this case, he didn't even tell on him. He just did it in front of everybody. You understand? But he wants Chris Rock desperately to talk to him. And it's starting to become something another thing he's mad at Chris Rock about. I'm telling you. But let's go.
Now you're supposed to remember all the good times and everything you ever been through and all of their good sides and all the times that they didn't, smack you in the mouth. You understand? And forgive them. That's not the case though. Here, he offers an apology to Chris Rock. Chris Rock doesn't want to talk and he goes public and apologizes to Chris anyway. Okay? Unacceptable in my opinion. Okay? Simply apologize to everyone else affected and let Chris know that you are here to apologize to him whenever he is ready. You understand? Also, hands go over the mouth when a person is lying or attempting deception. So as you can see, he scratches his chin just below his mouth just before he does this, meaning that he knows that he's wrong for doing this, but he needs to do it anyway. He's gonna do it anyway, rather. But this is, to me, it's like a ploy to let the world know, at least I'm sorry, so he can get on with his career. You understand? Let's see here.
Reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize.
Now, I want you guys to understand something, okay? What an apology actually looks like. Number one, it's prompt. You should apologize after you realize you've done something wrong. Number two, agree on the facts. There should be nothing vague in your apology. Number three, take responsibility. Number four, explain what you did wrong. Number five, express your regret or your remorse. Number six, make it better. Number seven, explain why it won't happen again. But let's see if Will Smith does that, okay? Let's see this.
To you, my behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
We go there. I want you guys to see something, okay? Notice how he's pausing before he gets to Chris's name, as if he's trying to think of his name. Now, you know that Jada did that, right? When she was talking about August, right? I got into an entanglement with August.
That's what I said.
Right? Now he's doing the same thing. And you wonder, why is Will taking all this from Jada? It's because his mind works the same way, family. He doesn't spot the red flags in Jada because he has the same way of thinking. Maybe they've been together for so long that they've adopted this from each other. Maybe she got it from him. Maybe he got it from her. Who knows? But this is how they interact, family. And so neither one of them are actually very accountable to the issues and actually showing that they want to change them. You understand? They just rather talk about, they rather give word salad, so to speak. You feel me? And I'll explain that later, but just watch this. Let's go back to when he first starts mentioning Chris's name, because he pauses again. Watch this.
I've reached out to Chris.
And I got into an entanglement with August.
And the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk. And when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris,
Entanglement with August.
I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable.
I think you need to say clearly what happened.
My behavior was unacceptable. That's not acknowledging what you did. So instead of saying, I apologize to you, my behavior was unacceptable, it should say, I was absolutely wrong for hitting you. It was absolutely wrong. I had no right to put my hands on you. You did nothing to bring that on yourself. I got caught up in the moment. I was upset. I saw my wife and I reacted. And I'm truly sorry for what I brought to you. I'm truly sorry for the embarrassment that I caused to you. I'm truly sorry. That's what that would look like. I can promise you I would never do anything like that again. I realized it was wrong. You understand? Now, I apologize. My behavior was unacceptable. That sounds like you was late for work. It sounds like you, like it's some ambiguous type things. Behavior. You can't call slapping somebody in the face behavior. Like, you got to say what you did, man. And when you apologize, you should be very specific with what you were wrong about, so they know what you were wrong about. You understand? Don't be vague, because this thing could happen again. And now when it happens again, the person's like, see, you did this before. And last time you said you would apologize and you wouldn't do it again. I wasn't talking about this. I was talking about something else. See, say what you did wrong. If you can't do that, that's not a real apology. It's not really accepting what you did. You understand? But let's continue.
And I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
This is likely why Chris does not want to talk. He knows it's going to be a whole bunch of word salad. Do you understand? He knows it's not going to be a real, true apology. You understand? But let's continue.
I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview.
Here, family. Why Chris's mother? You understand? Why his mother? Now, we love women in our world, don't get me wrong. Most of where his trauma stems from is watching his mother, be abused. Now, he could be apologizing to Chris's mother because he has a really strong relationship with his mother, his matriarch. So he's knowing now what pain he probably caused to her. Because if this happened to him, obviously his mother would be affected by it, seeing him be smacked in front of his peers, in front of a peer, in front of the whole entire world on his biggest night, right? This would probably affect his mother. So maybe this is genuine, but it also looks like a PR move. Why not go and apologize to the person first, who everyone might look at it and say, oh, look at there, like he apologizing to his mom. That Will's such a nice guy. You see what I'm saying? Like, why apologize to his mother first? To me, it could be an attempt to be like, let me just try and manipulate the people. You understand? Let me try to come off like a really good person, play on their heartstrings, so to speak. You feel me? But again, it could be genuine and we could be just sitting here judging. You never know. This is why I say a lot of times when somebody apologizes, the fact that they're trying to apologize, because you may be dealing with a narcissist and they're truly trying to apologize, and it comes out like this. In this instant, know that they truly gave you the best apology that they could give. And what you should do at this point, if you want to be in their lives still, set a standard. Don't worry so much about if they'll do the thing again. You create a standard to what you will do if they do the thing again. This way you don't have to live so much into, are they being honest? Are they playing me? Are they manipulating me? Because I can tell you, you would make it extremely difficult for a person to try and be genuine with you if you're going to keep poking holes like I'm doing with this video to try and see if somebody is actually genuine. Would I forgive Will if it were me? I probably would, because he's trying. I see a person who's trying, but do I see a narcissist? Absolutely. I see a person with narcissistic traits. I also think that doesn't make him a bad person. I actually think that Will Smith is a great person. I think that his view of the world helps him to be a better person, whether or not he does it for his own reputation or he does it because he wants to make the world a better place. The result is the same. He is empowering people. He is putting out love, light, and joy, and all that good stuff. And he has been a staple in all of our eyes for years. Okay, he was a rapper, never cussed. He hasn't been in the news for all kind of crazy stuff. You understand? So you can call him a good role model until this recent thing. All right, so let me give you guys a little bit of philosophy on how I look at a person and deem whether they're good or a bad person, okay? It's not just about what they've done or what they haven't done. It's actually more about what they have access to and then have the discipline to not do it. Example, if a man is in a bar and he has $20 to his name, and even if he is an alcoholic, he's done after $20. But if he's a millionaire, he could drink himself to death. So a person with a lot of resources, a lot of power, can have access to doing a whole lot of things that other people wouldn't dream of. So for them, they would have to have more restraint and discipline to not do some of the things that other people could never even have access to doing. Another example, if a man gets a lot of women, he cheats a lot, it's because he has a lot of women who like him. But you might have another guy who doesn't have any women who are interested in him, so by default, he's faithful. So you look at him like he's a good person because he doesn't cheat, when in reality, he has no opportunities. So a man who has a lot of women in his face has to practice discipline, where the one that cannot get female attention, he could only dream of cheating, so he doesn't cheat by default. He's looked at as a good person, but really he doesn't have access to doing that. So let's imagine you see Will Smith with a whole bunch of video vixens, right? Drinking in the back of a limo or at a party or something like that. Imagine he lived his career where he's showing off money, you know what I mean? Bragging about his possessions and his achievements. What if he's one of those rappers that brag about all the jewelry that they got and how much money they got on their pinky ring, or how much money they got on their neck and VVS's and all of this? I mean, some rappers even got their own self on their chain. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you saw him, with alcohol and smoking and doing these types of things? Seem like all these other artists are using alcohol to, make some money off of it. The most you ever get with Will Smith is drinking on a TV show during a Christmas special, trying out a drink. You know what I'm saying? His products are more like books and things of that nature. So
This is what I mean by he is a good person. He could have taken all those other routes. He had access to take all those other routes. There's a lot of money in those other routes, but he did not take those other routes. So you got to appreciate that. You understand? I think it's beautiful to give us something that is so different, especially represented by, in a black man.
Right? But let's continue.
Chris's mother did. And, that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and, I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment.
Okay, now, that's fine. He can say that, it was a lot going on. I wasn't thinking about, who all my decisions would affect or who all I would hurt in that moment. You can say that if you want, but it's really a waste of energy and time, because most people don't know in that moment, how many people they're going to affect. So you can't take that blame on yourself. He should probably focus on the things that he can be accountable to, which is standing up, walking 30 feet up here and slapping this man's cheek to the other side of his face, then walking back and then screaming at him to keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth, as if he's gonna walk up there and do it again. You understand? He should probably focus more on that instead of not knowing at the time how it would affect everybody. You understand? Because when these things happen and you're triggered, you get short-sighted. You don't think about the broader view. You only see, or you only feel, family. You're experiencing something in here. I know the mic probably got adjusted. Let me stop that. But you're experiencing something in here, and you are reacting from that experience. And your reaction is based on how you grew up. Your reaction is based on your trauma.
Look, I've heard so many people say, Will knew who he was smacking because Chris Rock is substantially smaller in stature. He wouldn't have tried that on, say, a larger comedian. But I invite y'all to consider this. Maybe it's Chris Rock who thought he knew Will. Maybe just consider Will's perspective, right? Okay, he is a larger guy. Of course, in his movies, he comes off as a strong man, a manly man, a person who you probably wouldn't want to try. He did play an outlet. He did get in shape. Not a small guy. But this is acting. But we know that it's the size of the fight in the dog. Because we've all been around people who had size on them and pause, but they didn't have the attitude to back it up. You see what I'm saying? Like they didn't have that killer in them, so to speak. You feel me? And you just knew. It didn't matter about size or anything like that. You knew, based on how this person carried themselves, what they kind of was about. Like you said, they're not about that life. So Will's reality is he doesn't carry himself like a violent person at all. So who's to say that Chris didn't think that he could say that to Will's wife and not get away with it? Who's to say Will's not thinking that? And in that moment, of course, trauma, ego, not wanting to let Jada down, not wanting to walk away from that moment, not wanting to let Chris do that to him, to show Chris that he ain't just somebody you can do that to. You know how our mind thinks in moments like this. You know what I mean? So this could be why he's clenching his teeth when talking to Chris later on, because he's upset with Chris probably for even saying that, because that's what triggered him. You understand? Like a lot of times it's really difficult, and that's probably what he's calling complexities and nuances.
Your reaction is based on all your other interactions. The sum total of you, everything that you do is you. You must accept that. And what a lot of times people do is in those moments that they see a manifestation of themselves, even especially if it's a negative one, they want to remove themselves from that. That's not me. I didn't do that. But you did do that. You did that because you was mad. You did it because you was hungry. You did it because you were tired. Whatever excuse you're giving, that's you. Okay, now the greatness is you too. But you have to understand that you are a complex individual. You're not all good and you're not all bad, right? So the key to evolving is accepting what it is that you do and stop denying it. Stop saying that wasn't me. You understand? It's you, but let's continue.
So I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship. Tony Rock.
So again, he went to Chris's mother instead of Chris's children, instead of Chris's wife, which is you smacked Chris because of your wife. So what about the damage you caused to his wife? If you're offended off of a joke he said to your wife, imagine how his wife feels off you slapping him and her laughing. You didn't apologize for her laughing. Anyway, apologize to the children probably for what you did to their father, okay? They're probably going to have faced a whole lot through this, but you just said mother and then family. And of course he says Tony, that's because Tony been speaking on him. You understand? So he and Tony, I guess, were friends, but let's just hear it out.
It was my man. And this is probably irreparable.
Probably.
I spent the last 3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened.
He spent the last 3 months, okay, replaying and going over the nuances and complexities and understanding. So there was something that you didn't understand that you understand now, right? Nuances. Nuances is a subtle difference or change, something that somebody may have didn't see. Complexities. It sounds as if things are not as simplistic as you may think. But you walked up and slapped this man for a joke. He's a comedian with a microphone at an event. It's not as complex as he's making it. It's not as many nuances as he's making it. You got mad at something he said. You reacted with violence. It's not as complex as he may be making it, but he's saying that over the last 3 months, he's came to an understanding of something, right? But the problem with this is this. Watch this.
Ease of what happened in that moment. And I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now, but I can say to...
That's the problem right there, okay? That he's not going to unpack all of it right now. He has a new understanding. Over the last 3 months, he's been processing this and going over all the nuances and complexities, but he's not going to unpack that right now. It took you 3 months to do this. When are you going to unpack it? You're not going to unpack it. Like, we're never going to hear about these nuances and complexities that he understands now over this 3 month sabbatical that he took. We're not going to hear about this. I can guarantee you we're not. So this is another point where it's like, I'm not going to be accountable. Do you understand? He could say simply what it was. I spent the last 3 months thinking about what I did to him. I took the last 3 months thinking about me slapping him and all the pain that I could have caused him, his family, the people around me, the people that's close to me, the person I thought I was protecting. He still ain't said slap yet. He still ain't said it. Let's go.
All of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment. There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults.
Okay, I want you to understand something. When he says he's gone over it, he's unpacked it. I'm not gonna he's gone over it. He said, I'm not gonna unpack that now, but just know this, okay? There's no part of me, okay? Now, I don't know how many parts that there are to Will Smith, but he says there's 0 parts, not even one part of him, that thinks that this was the right thing to do, the right way to handle it. Remember how Jada kept on pointing to other places because you're not being direct, and body language shows you that they're not being direct because they'll point somewhere else, look somewhere else. They're not being direct. The hand, when he's talking to Chris, the first time he goes, apologize, right? And you'll notice when he talks to Jada too, Will points like this, okay? This time he goes, it's not, as you can see, there's no part of me that thinks this is the right way. And he's doing this as if he's talking to a bunch of people who is stupid, that you need body language to convey that. Like, you see what I'm saying? There's no way I think this is the right way to, like, come on now. Then he stops and says, there is no part of me that thinks this is the optimal, what looks like a cultic symbol, hand signs, but optimal, what? Optimal. That's a word. That's a heck of a word, especially to use when you were completely wrong. I'm gonna come all the way clean. Optimal sound techie to me. Like, it sounds like you're talking about the performance of some machine when you start talking about optimal. You see what I'm saying? Like, nobody truly congratulates you by saying optimal. Just imagine Will Smith congratulating Jaden, like, yo, son, you did an optimal job. Like, they don't talk like that. So obviously this is not something that's genuine. You understand? Like, just maybe for y'all might like that word, but optimal is just not it sounds very technical, like techie. You understand? So instead of saying I was absolutely wrong for what I did, I put my hands on that man who had not put his hands on me. I closed the distance on that man who did not close any distance upon me. I was not feeling physically threatened in that way at all. Neither was my wife. I completely reacted out of ego. I was completely wrong. Why do you have to say there's no part of me that thinks this was the right way to handle? You're still not saying what you did wrong. There's no part of me that thinks this was the optimal way. Of course it wasn't the optimal way. It was absolutely wrong. And when you're talking to someone who clearly did something absolutely wrong, and they say there's no part of me that thinks this was the optimal way, they're clearly not saying I was absolutely wrong. They're just saying it wasn't perfect how I handled it. Family, that's a narcissistic trait all day long. Do you understand? Complete denial of the damage that you caused. And basically what you're talking about is that you didn't do it perfectly. What? It's literally unreal, the word choices that he makes instead of just saying I was wrong. You understand? But let's continue.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like,
Wow. You see how firm his no was? And then he started laughing. Now, this is the first time we're getting emotion. He's been a robot this whole time, right? What is the reason you did not apologize to Chris Rock during the acceptance speech, right? I reached out to Chris, and what I got back was, when he's ready to talk, he will reach out. But I want to say this to Chris. I apologize. My behavior was unacceptable. Now watch this now. Did the look Jada gave you, or did Jada tell you to do something? Let's see if he passes my popcorn test. Let's see here. Popcorn test, family, is when I'm eating popcorn, and if I'm shocked by something that happened, of course, the popcorn test, family, is if I'm shocked by something that happens, I'll spill a little bit of popcorn, okay? So let's just see here. Now, the first popcorn test is going to be in the beginning, okay? Let's just see here.
Fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable. And
let's see the other one.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like,
As y'all can see, he completely failed the popcorn test. Popcorn was good in the mud too. Made me spill my popcorn. But watch this, family. Let's go back now. That sudden no, right? We got some energy there. Let's see here.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like,
now, if you notice here, guys, the camera has switched now, okay? There's a tripod up in front of him. He has a couple of different angles, okay? Now, as you can see, the tripod angle is different in the front, okay? So they must have stopped and talked to him, and they restarted shooting from here, where he's kind of laughing now because, Will has this thing where if an awkward moment is there, then he'll try to laugh it off. Even no matter how embarrassing it is, he'll try to be jokey, like comic relief, right? Notice, no. And then it's like, I made a choice, right? But this is telltale, because now he's saying I made a choice to do something. Not I reacted. I made a choice to do something, right? This is a huge problem, okay? Because this is admitting of like premeditated assault. You understand? Like, I made a choice to do this, okay? Now watch this.
Did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do.
Ooh, notice his teeth together right here. My history with Chris. There's still anger there with Chris. So Will feels justified in hitting Chris. He's not truly sorry, and that's why we're seeing this. He insulted Will's wife. Where Will is from, he feels like he should have protected his wife, regardless of what that looks like. And Chris should have known that was his wife, and he shouldn't have spoke on that man's wife. And he spoke on him before, right? Some years ago about this award show. You guys know the story behind that first joke. But he actually has issues with Chris. You can see how he said it with his teeth here. But let's go back. I want you guys to see something. If he's saying that he made a choice to hit Chris, what's this 3 month of going through your head and working out all these nuances and complexities then? If you know you made a choice to hit this man, if you know you made a choice to hit this man, then by default, you know you're abusive. You know you responded with talking with an action. And so there's no need to do a whole lot of thinking about nuances and complexities. You made a choice to go do this. There's nothing complex about it. Now, however, if he reacted and this came out of him, okay, this is something that he would contemplate, right? It's the first time this ever happened. He's not known for doing things like this. This would say, why did I do that? Why did I react in such a way? Why? Yeah, this is going to cause some type of existential discovery or crisis or something like that, right? Venture, if you will. But he made a choice based on what he's saying. But let's continue.
My history with Chris, Jada had nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. Like, he didn't insult Jada first. You didn't laugh and then see Jada look mad and then walk down there and slap him. Then when you got to your seat, you didn't yell up there and say, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth. You didn't say you felt disrespected. You didn't say you felt insulted. Now the slap had nothing to do with Jada. Nothing? Like, is it like nothing as in no parts of you thinks that this was the optimal way? I think one part of you at least thinks this is the optimal way to handle it. I think at least one part of Will Smith thinks this is the right way to handle this. I really do. But I think he's overall a good guy. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, don't try him. You'll get the worst out of him. You understand, family? People who build their life on ego, who want to be a great person so they can be a great person. They want to be good to people so they can be a great person. They want to help people so they can be a healer, not so the person can be helped. Those type of people, don't offend them, because they equally have standards for what they would do if you cross them. Those type of people are like this. I'm good to people. I treat them right. I don't deserve for you to mistreat me. So if you do, you're going to get the worst. You understand? I'm always trying to give people the best of me. But if you cross me, you're going to get what is your just due. You understand? And a person like this would feel like what you're getting is what you deserve. Therefore, I don't owe you an apology. You should have never insulted. You should have never disrespected. That's why you got what you got. Just know I wouldn't have done that for no other reason. Is this person a good person? Most of the time, absolutely. Are they violent? Yes, when triggered. Don't trigger them. Leave them alone. You understand? Now, do they need help? Yes. But this person has set up in their mind, like, this is how I'm going to move going forward. I'm not going to let people do me a certain kind of way. And many of you guys have this now. You guys will say, look at what happened whenever he first insulted his wife. Look at how many men said, oh, he first joked about his wife. Look at how many men said, oh, I would have did it too. I would have slapped him too. Look at how many of you guys said, if you were Chris Rock, what you would have done. This shows that you all still have those type of boundaries set up in you, and you will respond based on the standards you already set up for yourself. You understand? But let's continue.
Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe. I'm gonna say sorry to my kids.
Now I want you to listen to Will's apology to Jada and Will's apology to Chris. Watch this. Chris, first he didn't even know his name. Chris, I apologize. My behavior was unacceptable, right? Like a robot. Listen at Jada. I'm sorry, babe. You see, I'm sorry, babe. Genuine, vulnerable. I'm sorry, babe. Right? I apologize to my kids. Now, just watch, listen. Also, hands go over the mouth when a person is lying or attempting deception. So as you can see, he scratches his chin just below his mouth just before he does this, meaning that he knows that he's wrong for doing this, but he needs to do it anyway. He's gonna do it anyway, rather. Also watch how prompt his apology is to his wife. I'm sorry, babe. He shakes his head no, which expresses the regret or the remorse. He explains exactly what he did wrong, which is bring the heat on his family and himself. All right. And just he's quick with this. OK, watch, family. He gets through with this whole apology before he can even get his first sentence out to Chris. Watch this. Mind you, this is not necessary either. He lives with his wife. He lives with his family. I'm sure he has already apologized. This video was supposed to be addressing Chris, and it shouldn't have even been that because Chris didn't want to talk yet. If he was going to address the people and say that he was wrong for his actions and try to kind of remedy that in some way, he could have done that, but he had to bring his wife into it. Okay. Now, again, he lives with his wife, y'all. He lives with his family. Why did he have to publicly apologize to the people he lives with? You understand? It seems he should be focusing on the apology that needs to be made, that he has yet to actually do. But let's go.
So I will say to you, I'm sorry, babe. Chris, I apologize to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought unacceptable, all of us. And I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
All right, look, I can hear you guys through the camera talking about I'm sorry versus I apologize. I'll put it like this. People use both, okay, interchangeably. But some people do actually feel that one is more than the other. One is more informal than the other. I think it's more so apology is the more formal of the two. However, this person used apology and sorry in the same video. So I will say this, typically people who apologize always apologize. Typically people who say sorry, they always say sorry because they're choosing which one means the most to them, okay? But he uses both. So I would say that is a red flag or at least an indicator that he was insincere in one of these apologies. Now, because you could hear the emotion as soon as he started talking to Jada, I'm going to infer that he was serious when he was talking to Jada. You understand? I personally look at it more like whichever one means the most to you at that time or whichever one you feel is necessary at that time. For example, you would apologize if you did something to inconvenience someone, like professionally, or even if he say he's apologizing to Chris, more manly, more professional, like man frame, I apologize to you. Where if it's like, you know, if you cheat on someone, you're not going to say I apologize for cheating or I apologize that you lost your loved one. You're going to say I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's like more personal, more vulnerable, right? And so it could be because he's talking to a woman and his wife when he says I'm sorry, babe, but you can hear the empathy in his voice. I'm sorry. You know, where versus Chris, it's like so stiff where I apologize. My behavior, you know, I'm sorry, babe, you know. So I see that I'm sorry and I apologize as just something that we kind of use based on how we feel at that moment or what we feel necessary to use at that moment, if that makes sense. But let's continue.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm gonna say sorry to my kids.
See how he looks in the camera and shakes his head and whole like empathy. I feel bad for what I did to you. I feel bad for the pain I caused you. Right? I'm sorry, babe. Right? He didn't do that with Chris because he's dreadfully apologizing to Chris. He has to do this to keep his career going. But Will does not necessarily feel that he was wrong for his actions, and that's probably why he did them. He's not a bad person. Was that wrong? Yes, but this is the hiccup that he's having. I'm telling you guys. Let's go.
And say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us. To all.
Now, that's another one. That's a narcissistic tendency, what he just did there, or trait, but it's consistent. You see, he's apologizing to people he's truly sorry to, but he's also not apologizing for the feelings they feel. He's apologizing to them for the reality. I'm sorry for bringing this heat on all of us. I'm sorry that people are digging up these past things I thought we had gotten past, only to talk about them again and pulling up clips of y'all. And I'm sorry my actions led to this thing, right? This embarrassment. I embarrassed us. Now I'm sorry for hurting y'all. I'm sorry that I, didn't live up to the standard I asked y'all to live up to. That I'm not the man, that I wasn't the man that night that I raised you guys to be. Right? The person that I raised you guys to be. But he's more so speaking to the reality. I'm so sorry I brought all this heat on all of us, himself included. You understand? So that's a very narcissistic way to apologize. But he is sincere right here. So a narcissist can be sincere, as you can see. But he's apologizing for the reality of what he had to go through. And he might expect an apology along the same lines. If this happened to him, he may not say, I'd rather you apologize for how I felt with you doing that. I'd rather you apologize for what you created for me, because what you created for me is going to continue for the foreseeable future. And that would let you know that your actions was wrong. If it's just apologizing because I was hurt, then it's not really admitting that you were wrong. You're apologizing that I was offended about what you did, but not that what you did was actually wrong. But if you apologize for the reality that you brought on us, that's a little bit different. That takes care of every time somebody says something about that in the future now. In my opinion, you understand? I'm sorry for what I brought on to us. Like if you cheat on your wife, I'm sorry for the embarrassment and shame that I brought on you. Of course, you're apologizing for the feelings and the lies and the manipulation, but you're going to apologize also for what she's going to experience when she walks out those doors and people look at her differently, right? Let's continue.
My fellow nominees, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me, and it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment.
His apology to his peers, okay, his fellow nominees. Notice before he even spoke to what they be feeling, he mentioned how he felt. It really breaks my heart to have tarnished you guys' moment, right? It breaks my heart to have done this to you, not to my fellow nominees. I want to apologize to you for the pain that I caused you. I know this was y'all's moment. I know this was a long awaited moment that was snatched away by my actions and my actions alone. I sincerely am sorry to all of you who are hurt with my own actions. I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me. You understand? Asking for forgiveness, it was wrong because it was your moment. You guys voted for me. I won because of you. And that was wrong of me to take your moment from you when I hit Chris. Admit what you did, right? But he just says to all of my peers, it breaks my heart what I did to y'all. It hurts me that I hurt y'all. And sorry about this, Mike. I move my hands when I talk. I'm hoping I ain't messing it up, but we'll find out later, I guess. Let's continue.
I can still see Questlove's eyes. It happened on Questlove's award, and it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient.
But that's not sorry, Will. And you got to keep your train of thought. I believe these people are writing this stuff for him. This is horrible. He goes into what it's like to see Questlove's face, and that's to make us all feel sorry. That's not really an apology. Like, I remember the look on his face, and he's expressing how it felt to him by seeing the look on his face. Like, what about what Quest was feeling? I saw the look on his face, and I could see the pain on his face. I could see that he was hurt. You see, like, I saw the look on his face, and it's a shame. He can't really be apologetic without being shameful. So he's shaking his head in shame, and then he goes, "Sorry just doesn't. It's just not enough, right? In so many words." But that's not saying you're sorry. Apology just doesn't do it. An apology just it's not good enough. But I apologize. Sorry doesn't cut it. But I'm sorry, and I wish there was more I could do to give you that moment back. I wish there was something I could do to change that moment. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, these are things that someone would say if they were truly remorseful for their actions and the pain they caused on people. This is him being remorseful for the pain that his actions caused on himself. Do you understand? And his reputation. He's trying to restore his reputation. Regardless, does that mean he'll be a better person going forward? Likely. He probably will. So people probably won't have to face this from him again. He would have learned his lesson all the same, even though it wasn't the sincere apology you would hope for. This is for a lot of you guys who are dealing with people with narcissistic traits. I didn't say narcissists, narcissistic traits, okay? Know that if they sit down and take the time to apologize, it's probably because they still want to be in your life. I can't tell you that it's sincere. They may be doing it for you to feel better, but they value the relationship still, at least. And what you could do is say, well, do I know this person's going to truly be who they say they are now moving forward? You don't, but create a standard. And if they don't change, then you know you have to move around. You understand? And that way you don't have to live in, are they manipulating me right now? Because then you're going to make a situation tougher than what it is. Let him apologize. And if you guys didn't ask for this content, if this was me, he was apologizing too, I wouldn't do all this. I'm showing you guys these things because I want you to see what a narcissistic statement sounds like and looks like. But I'm not pointing fingers at Will and saying that he's intentionally doing this. I think a lot of this was written for him. You understand? But if I were him, I would have saw that this wasn't the right way to apologize and told them to rewrite it. Or I would have just did my own. Used to it on my own time. But I don't think he can. I mean, a lot of these guys who are very rich and powerful, they're puppets. And you think they're rich and powerful, but they're actually some of the most controlled people on the planet, family. But let's continue.
What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down? So there's two things. One, disappointing people is my central trauma. All
right, moment of truth. This part got me just a little bit, okay? Because he said disappointing people is my central trauma. I understand that. You understand, like, he witnessed his mother being physically abused by his father, and he manifested that as he let his mother down, even though he was a child. This is what trauma is. Okay, it creates this route in your brain that it always seems to take. On the flip side, this is how he manifested his success. Okay, so all of what he became was due to not wanting to let people down. So his achievements weren't in, I want to be the greatest. They were in, I don't want to not be what people think of me or expect of me. You see what I'm saying? Like, he wants to be approved of. You understand? Like, he did all these things, and when he was an adult, told his mother that he did all these things for her, these kind things for her, because he wanted her to forgive him. And she tells him she was never upset with him, but he had manifested this his entire life. So you got to understand where this man is coming from. And this is why it's like, for people who say Will Smith is a bad person, I'm like, how can you call someone like this a bad person? You understand? I believe that if you're talking about somebody that can do the best with the worst that was given to him, man, it's got to be somebody who is an epitome of that. And I'm not just meaning his success, family. I mean the type of person that he has presented himself to be, really this entire time. And I'm not saying he's been perfect by any means, but what I'm saying is that he's made the best of what has been given to him, so to speak. You know, you have to look at this from a person who, in his mind, doesn't want to disappoint people to this degree. Even with all of his greatness and all of his achievements, he will always be at the mercy of others. Their opinions of him, what he thinks they think of him, will always control him. You understand? And this is why you see him behave in such a way. A lot of times they don't really know how to act in certain situations. They're trying to do what they think you would want from them, because they don't want to be, I don't want to let you down. Imagine he didn't go up there and slap the shit out of Chris Rock, right? On the way home, Jada's probably going to let him hear it, and he'll have to probably hear this for the rest of his life. The time that he insulted her yet again, and insulted her hair, which he knows personally that she probably has issues with it, and he would have not done anything in that situation, and that would have been another thing he had to live with and deal with. Anything to escape that moment, you know.
anything to escape that lifetime. So I could just see how this controls a person. Imagine being in school and somebody says something to you and everybody goes, ooh, like it didn't necessarily make you angry, but you saw this response and you know there's going to be punitive treatment. If you walk away, you're going to be a coward, a lame. You let him say that to you. You let him do that to you. So you kind of respond out of being controlled, you kind of respond out of being a little bit controlled or manipulated. You understand? Peer pressure is what they call it. So it's important that we grow out of this so we can find our purpose. You can be very successful in life, but if you're moving at the beat of other people's drum like this, or what you think their beat is, it's likely you'll be aloof to your actual purpose. While you can be great, your purpose, you won't be able to truly fulfill it, and there'll be an emptiness on the inside of you. It's a very dangerous mindset. You understand? You can achieve the world, but it's a very dangerous mindset. But the person that he is, family, I believe he did the best with what he was given. Okay? But let's continue. The first thing he said to all the people that he may have let down was how he felt. See, what would you say to all those people? Guys, I'm sorry. I know you've watched me over the course of years. I know you guys look up to the image of me. I know you guys were let down by me not living up to that image. And I'm sorry. What I did was wrong. It was not right in the least bit. And I'm truly sorry. You understand, but he's saying it hurts me to hurt you. It really bothers me when I let people down. It's like, that may be true and he's being honest. Now, would that keep him from harming people? Yes, if it hurts him to hurt people. He wouldn't want to hurt people because he can feel it. He doesn't like for people to be upset with him, so he probably won't go around hurting people. You understand? So it's different avenues that lead to him being a good person or him being the functional person that he is. Narcissism could be one, family. It could be. And it may not be grandiose. It could be vulnerable. He seems to be a victim a lot. You understand? But regardless of the case may be, he's a hero. He got a hero mentality. He wants to change the world, make it a better place. That could be a little bit grandiose, but these are traits. This is not a clinical diagnosis, but I want you guys to know that these things can come from what would seem like a narcissistic place, but still indicate that there can be change moving forward and responsibility moving forward. However, if you see that the actions are not stopping though, then don't take any of this as sincere and move along. Because even if they genuinely give you a real apology, a lot of times they cannot stop the way they've been behaving their whole life. That it's narcissists are made, not born. So through the life that's been presented to them, they have became that. And many of us have narcissistic traits due to being raised in a Western culture that's based upon achievement and success. Do you understand? And beauty, things like that. Entitlement comes along with all of that, Start thinking you're better than people because you're more talented, more aesthetically pleasing, and things like that. And now all of a sudden that comes into not just anybody can have a conversation with you, because now there's a such thing as, ordinary people where you are a superior person. And this is where that narcissistic type mindset comes in, okay? But let's continue.
I hate when I let people down. So it hurts. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me.
Image and impression of me. John Legend. John Legend. I Am Legend. John Q. I Am Robot. 7 Pounds. The Independence Day. The list goes on, right? Hell of an image. But he's an actor. That's not Will, that's acting. So we don't know who Will is, but he's feeling very bad about not living up to the image that Hollywood gave to y'all. Like, you don't know these actors, family. So a lot of the reason that they become role models to us is because of the parts they play, okay? So the characteristics that they seem to possess, they are based on narrative. They're not really based on who they really are. You understand? So the image, I didn't live up to the image. Okay, this is not something that Will Smith should even be sorry for. That's his job. You understand? I'm an actor, right? Who I am as a person is a totally different thing. So instead of being sorry that you didn't live up to an image, be sorry for your actual actions. Forget an image. I don't know what you think of me, but I'm telling you what I did was wrong. And that's what he should be addressing right there. But instead, it's I didn't live up to an image, family. You understand? Let's go back. It was something I wanted to say that I lost my train of thought when he said that.
And emotionally to know
Yeah,
I didn't.
it hurt me emotionally and psychologically to do this to you. What it makes the person feel when you're apologizing is in this way is to almost apologize to you for even being hurt and let down to begin with. Oh, no, you're not that bad. Like, you're not all bad, Will. Like, you never really let me down. Just this one time. I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad for what you did to me and how I feel. Like, I don't want that to happen. I just wanted you to, be accountable for what you did to me. But I can see it affects you so badly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're going through all of this because of you slapping Chris Rock. I'm so sorry. But what that does is infuriates people, because it seems that you're begging for the retribution that they're looking for. You understand? But let's continue.
On the flip side, a person who says this in this way, it hurts me when I let people down. Know that letting people down does actually cause them to feel pain. So because their brain is traumatized and they don't like to let people down, it causes them to feel pain. Their brain creates those chemicals when they feel like they let people down. So the pain is real all the same. So while you feel pain because of what they did to you, they actually feel pain also because of what they did to you. I know it's crazy. And they're not lying. They don't know no other way than to self-reveal. You understand? It hurts me to hurt you. This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. You understand? You've heard this as when you were growing up, your parents would tell you this. Why is it relevant that they tell you that whooping you is going to hurt them? It seems that that's double punishment, because now they're whooping you and they also telling you that they hurting because they have to whip you. So you're causing them to double pain, right? To hurt you, and that hurts them, right? Look what you made me do to you, right? You see what I'm saying? It's and they'll be mad at you for what you made them do to you. You understand? Like, they'll punish you for making them feel bad for hurting you. You understand? They need help because their brain really does feel pain. So they're reacting to trauma. Let's continue.
To people's image and impression of me. And the work I'm trying to do is I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself, right? I'm human.
See, narcissists hate feeling shame. It's hard for them to deal with remorse without feeling shame because it bleeds into their ego, okay? Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone does. No one is perfect. These are things that are fact, okay? These are not things that should weigh in whenever you give an apology. This is so known, you don't have to say this. You could just say I was wrong for my actions. Do you understand? Here he's talking about being,
Being ashamed of my...
not being able to be ashamed. Or he's trying to not to be ashamed. But let me ask you a question. What's so wrong with that? What's so wrong with shame? Not public shame, but you being ashamed of yourself. When I was raised, my grandmother would say you should be ashamed of yourself based on the action that you did. You should be ashamed of yourself. He should be ashamed of himself. He walked up and slapped a man in front of everyone. Slapped him in his face. Being ashamed of yourself isn't unhealthy in that moment. Maybe that could be the fuel for you to change. Being ashamed of yourself doesn't feel good, and you might want to navigate around this feeling in the future that may keep you from doing that thing that caused you to feel shame on yourself. So shame ain't bad necessarily. You understand? But he doesn't want to feel shame. Okay, I'm trying to feel remorseful without feeling shameful. Easy. Separate yourself from your ego and care about the person that you offended and put you to the side so you can truly apologize for what you caused this person. You understand? But if apologizing makes me wrong, then it also makes me a bad person. No, it doesn't. And get that frame of thought out of your head. You understand? You apologizing for being wrong makes you a good person, family. You recognizing that you were wrong is indicative that you are a good person. But you trying to avoid not being a bad person by not apologizing only makes you appear to be a bad person. Do you understand? Because now you have no accountability up in there with your actions. And that's not good. People won't be able to want to be around you. They won't like you. They won't really be able to forgive you. A lot of us really need to hear you be accountable before we can say, I forgive you. Because forgiveness a lot of times looks like continuing that relationship and being around that person and trusting that they won't do that again. So you need them to know they were wrong. But if they're trying not to feel shame because they're having a hard time with it, that almost seems like I can't really move forward with this person. You understand? But let's continue.
Right? I'm human. And I made a mistake. And
so making a mistake is like coloring outside the lines. You understand? Like not putting a piece of cheese on the sandwich when they ask for cheese. That's making a mistake. You understand? Like, what you did was egregious. That wasn't a mistake. You said earlier you chose to do this. Now, I believe you reacted, but that's not a mistake. That's you looking back on it and realizing it's something you shouldn't have done. When you call that a mistake, okay, instead of saying my actions, the other person looks at that as another moment where you are not accepting accountability. You understand? Just so you guys know that. All right, but let's continue.
I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of shit. So I would say to those people, I know it was confusing.
Again, family, I'm trying not to think of myself as a POS, right? You slapped a man in his mouth, yo. And you're talking about how you feeling like a piece of, so if you felt like a piece of S, right? How does that compare to what Chris Rock felt? You slapped him in front of everybody. People ran up to you to calm you down and even celebrate you at the end. No one paid attention to Chris Rock. He is a victim of bullying growing up. Since a child, he was subjected to that same treatment as an adult. You grew up watching your mother be abused. You didn't witness that as an adult. Chris had to witness that again as an adult with you walking up to him and slapping him in his face. You understand? He didn't see people come to his rescue. He didn't get that. But you don't want to feel like a piece of shit. Yo, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, man. Let's go.
It's confusing. I know it was shocking.
It wasn't confusing. It was wrong, right? It was very wrong. And I guess maybe I'm doing too much there. It probably was confusing, but I don't know. I'm starting to get carried away. Let's go.
But I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world. And, you know, if you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
All right, family. So life, love, and joy into the world. That is very ambiguous, and it absolutely can be considered as word salad. But I believe the brother. I believe I know what he means by life, love, and joy because, or light, love, and joy simply because of the life that he has lived. I believe he calls that light, love, and joy, like inspirational quotes and, you know, encouraging people and inspiring people to be a better person. You understand? So if he weren't this type of person, I would say that, you know, light, love, and joy was word salad. But, you know, let's continue.
Well, I believe he's deeply committed to putting love, light, and joy in the world. He's always been. Will Smith is not a bad person, y'all. I think Will Smith is a good person. Again, I'm going to stand on that. This last thing about being friends again. A friend is someone who has a mutual relationship with you. They're not your friends. And I think that's wrote in again by one of those people in the background. You understand, we'll be friends again. Like, we're not friends. We're entertained by you. We watch you perform. But we are not friends. We do not have a mutual relationship. You understand? So what if you hang on, I promise we'll be friends again. What does that mean? Watch more movies? Because you're not going to get on here and unpack all of this, these nuances and complexities. We know that. We know that you'll be strongly advised against that, even if you wanted to. You understand? It's just another thing for people to pick apart. Another thing for you to self-expose. And that's what they're trying not to do right now. You understand? It seems like every time you and Jada hop on this camera, y'all self-expose. In fact, it'd be nice if she was here this day, because whenever you attempt to say other words for what you did instead of what you did, I wish she was here to give your words back to you and say, can you please just say what it was. You're like, when it happened. When what happened? You mean when you slapped the man? Talking about when it happened. Will you please just say what it was? That's what you said to Jada. Why are you going all the way around it? The only time he said slap is when he read a question that said the word slap in it. He didn't use the word hit, put his hands on, attack, abuse, assault. He didn't use none of that. Okay? Actions. What happened? The day it happened. Right? The moment. Vague, very vague, not actually being to the point about what actually happened. This is a narcissistic trait, guys. Why won't they say exactly what happened? What's their problem with this? Right? This is because they're having a problem with being truly sorry and not understanding, like, you know, if I'm not truly sorry, then why do I have to apologize? In my opinion, you don't. Before you do this type of apology, I would say I don't feel like I was wrong. Just express, I don't feel like I was wrong. That was my wife. You know, I was protecting her. I know y'all feel like that was wrong. I don't feel like I was wrong. However, I did pay the penalty. Okay. I lost an opportunity to go to the Oscars for several years. Whatever, all these things that happened to him, he had to suffer the consequences for his actions. But whether he feels he's wrong is a whole different story. You understand? So maybe he just shouldn't. Maybe he shouldn't have done that, you know, but he needs to because of PR, because there's a view, a reputation that he has, and he cares about that reputation. You understand? So it's really tough for him. It shouldn't have taken 3 months. If you realize you was wrong, you should have just said you was wrong. Again, family, very narcissistic traits here. Hopefully Will Smith does change his way of thinking, because if he does not, he will keep on manifesting Jada Pinkett. He will. There are two peas in a pod. I keep telling you guys that, yin and yang.
Before I end this video, here's why I think that Will Smith is upset with Chris when he's talking with his teeth closed, okay? Number one, Chris insulted him. He already had these issues with Chris, and I'm pretty sure Chris is well aware of the issues he have with Will. Now, Chris is very passive aggressive. So Chris tells this joke about Jada. Will's probably thinking, you could have said a joke about anybody, but you come from my wife. So Will is seeing this as a direct disrespect to him. Remember, the last joke was somewhat to the effect that Jada is not popular. So Will's probably thinking, if Jada's not popular, why are you joking on her? On her head, as a matter of fact. Now, the history with Will and Jada is she cares about her head. He's seen her crying over it, you know? So just imagine he's looking at Chris Rock use a platform of comedy, because, you know, of course people are saying, well, it's comedy, he should know that. Well, he's using a professional platform of comedy to terrorize Will in that moment. So Will's mind, so to speak. So Will's like, I'm not going to let you do that, of course. You got the wrong one. And think about Will's mindset. When you are a black person who's trying to live, an upstanding life like this, positive character traits are shunned, especially in places like Philadelphia where he grew up. Okay, negative character traits are praised. So fighting all the time and running women and, you know, just doing violent crimes and things like that are often praised. Where if you walk the straight and narrow, you look down upon, you a square, you lame, you corny, cornball, things of that nature. So acting white. So Will has probably got treated like that a lot in life by not carrying himself in a violent way. You know what I mean? So just imagine how many people will try you because you don't live that type of life. They'll take your kindness for weakness, quote unquote. So Chris makes that joke. Will feels like that, and he walks up there and he slaps him. You understand? So now, you know, the world wants Will to apologize to Chris to get on with his career, or they want him to make it right to clear his image up. But of course, Will probably doesn't want to apologize to Chris. He probably already feels like Chris had it coming. Also, now Chris doesn't want to talk to him, so it looks like Chris is torturing him even more. Just imagine, he probably thinks Chris is jealous of him. He is the bigger of the two stars by far, okay? He probably thinks Chris is jealous of him. So he's probably thinking, this is your way of trying to hurt my career. You glad to be in this position. So there's probably a lot of anger there for Chris, simply because Chris now won't even come forward and allow him to apologize, which he probably don't want to do anyway. So all of this is probably causing Will Smith to project, using his mindset, going off of his mindset. He's probably projecting this resentment onto Chris Rock, and that's why you see his teeth clenched up with his recent his problems and things like that with Chris. Like after he slapped him, Chris Rock responded with, "Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me," right? Like it almost sounded like like Fresh Prince just slapped the shit out of me, like like Wayne Brady just slapped me, like. This person who just slapped me is corny. Can y'all believe what I'm experiencing? It was almost said like passive aggressively. Now, in that moment, I give Chris Rock, the shot of a doubt on that one, saying he deserved to respond in that way. At least he didn't go back on the physical attack. But again, I think that's indicative that, or at least that validates Will Smith's mindset that he thought Chris was trying to take advantage of him. You see what I'm saying, or how he carries himself. But anyway, let's continue.
Okay. All right, family. I hope you guys got something from this one. Wow. Be evolution. Be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it is in that chaos that you find yourself. Peace, family.